Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan. Oof.
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
Since iCarly got put on Netflix, the whole internet reacted positively to that, getting to relive some childhood memories and nostalgia. However, I can't watch any of the Schneider shows anymore, and my reasons are for the sheer thought of what was going on behind the scenes. Everyone's going to refer to the Quiet on the Set documentary that came out, detailing the incredible amount of creeps and weirdos who worked their way around these kids. Also after reading Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which confirmed a lot of the rumors and thoughts I had flooding my mind within my teenage years, and also what people were talking about on the internet. This was all common knowledge. The problem is it's never really been brought to a mainstream audience. Dan Schneider always gave me creepy, predatory vibes, but as a kid, when iCarly was brand new and I was still in elementary school, it was my innocence and my naivety that kept me interested in the show up until it ended. As I grew looking up Schneider's YouTube channel, he always seemed off, like a lot, especially the way he ran the fictional social media platform The Slap on his Twitter account. And it made me think about just how predatory he was, and whenever one of his shows appeared, I got that sick feeling in my stomach knowing what was going on behind the camera and what was happening to these poor actors.
Kind of behavior I saw him with my son. Same frickin' behavior. So I went to production and said, you know, I really am very uncomfortable with this guy, Brian Peck, always being around my son. I go, I don't see anything abnormal, but it just doesn't, I don't have a good feeling. And she goes, oh, well, I don't know if you knew it or not, but he's gay. Maybe you're just homophobic and you just, you just don't understand that he's a touchy-feely guy.
Warning signs were all over the place. It was just a matter of who was going to pay attention and actually listen. People like Brian Peck, who were found guilty and convicted for only 11 months and then went right back to working with kids on other shows, is unacceptable. Also, the amount of creeps that already had previous arrests and charges for crimes against children is insane, and yet they were still allowed to work on these shows with the presence of minors. Ever since Quiet on the Set came out, I was actually quite surprised at how shocked people were by it, because every single child star was crying for help in some way early on, but nobody paid attention to it. The mainstream media saw it as a quick click and like, because celebrity behavior of drug use, teen pregnancy, and alcoholism was a really juicy eye-catcher and a good read for a news story. While everyone was gawking at the bizarre behavior, other people were trying to explain it. But like the victims themselves, they were ignored completely.
I just opened my eyes, I woke up, and he was sexually assaulting me. Elaborate on that on camera, really.
Whatever you feel comfortable or you think will help.
Why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Why don't you think of the worst stuff that someone can do to somebody as a sexual assault, and that'll answer your question.
Jason Michael Handy, who was a production assistant, just even described himself as a full-blown PDF file when he sent explicit photos to a child actress. He got more time than Brian Peck, though, only 6 years. Although I think he should have seen the uglier side of 20. A lot of this should have come out years ago. There would have been probably a bigger outcry from the public if the media tried, at the very least, to give these poor actors the benefit of the doubt. No one listened. That was the problem. The media saw it as entertainment whenever a child actor or actress started behaving erratically or began substance or alcohol abuse, thinking it would be a quick grab for attention and sales, when in reality, these were all signs of abuse and nobody cared. How fucked up is that? But then the moment a documentary drops, everybody's like, what? No way! I had no idea. There's been plenty of videos talking about topics like this, especially around Dan Schneider. A YouTuber, Blameitonjorge, made a video about it, essentially right after Dan was released from Viacom. It included interviews with extras from various other shows who had weird experiences with their auditions and Dan's predatory behavior when it came to interacting with the actors and actresses that were auditioning.
The tapes to see who he would want on the show. And, of course, you know, we always ask, like, oh, what do we have to do? Like, what would you like us to be doing once we're in there? And my agent told me, he's like, it's going to be like he's like, you got to just take off your shoes, just, like, run around in front of the camera, talk about how much you love being barefoot. And at the time, even, it was like, okay, that's weird, but I didn't think anything of it because I was still young.
Right.
My mom kind of looked around and was like, this is wrong. There's just something really wrong about this.
And she told me that in her youth, she worked on one of Schneider's shows very briefly. She told me, my friend was molested by that man on set. Everyone knew it. No one said a word.
All in all, I'm glad the stuff finally came out and got the attention it deserves. The only thing now is to really seek justice for these former child actors and put an end to this kind of cruel behavior on the set. Kids must be protected at all costs. It pisses me off when I see kids like this who are pleading in a way where it's not spelling out the obvious, because if they do, it could mean disaster for them, or they feel guilty or whatever. I'm saying this as someone who's gone through the same thing, that same kind of abuse, the same process of dealing with it, the same feelings of betrayal, pain, depression, and anxiety. Person who did it to me is dead due to cancer, and he never saw what his life would be like behind bars. What was done to me was monstrous, but I can't dwell on the past, and I'll rarely talk about it because it's something I just want to forget. But I've learned to live with it. It happened. It's a part of my childhood I'll never get back. The wheels keep turning. I gotta keep moving forwards. And for you in the comments that sometimes want to say some nasty things like, oh, I'm full of shit, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go ahead and say it. I've heard it all before. That's the sad thing in life, It doesn't matter how much you plead your case, there's always that some kind of expressive doubt that people have, like they don't want to believe something like this exists, or they say something nasty like that because they don't care, it didn't happen to them, they don't know what the hell it's gone through. It's quite an interesting thing how people behave.